everyone, and welcome to Wild Moments brought to you by explore.org. You've got none other than me and Kelly in the house. How's it going, Kelly?
Whoop whoop, it's in the house, Trish. Thank you very much for having me. I am delighted to be here. As always, some super cool clips to go through, and I'm excited.
Very nice. I'm so disappointed that all our viewers can't see you at the moment because Kelly looks hectic, guys. She's got a black hoodie on. She looks like she could go out, rob a bank any moment.
Oh, don't tell them that. That's the point. They might suddenly swap our cameras on. What you're talking about, Trish? I don't know what you're talking
Yeah, no, you're in your guiding uniform, aren't you, Kelly?
about. 100%, all over it.
So tell us, what have you been up to? Where are you? What are you doing?
Oh, stuff and things and stuff. Ducking and diving as one does. I've been doing some a little bit of gardening, but I'm deeply distracted now by the thing we're looking at on the screen. Um,
Okay, we will
yeah,
get an update from you, Kelly, at
yeah,
some
it's
point. But
nothing that
everybody,
interesting.
but we are looking at the live Ulusaba cam right now, and this crocodile is basically our first topic, and we're going to go into clips of him in a moment. But one of the things that I really wanted to see was him out or her, I'm not sure, outside of the water, so we could have a look at this injury. And we will go through some other clips of it, but right now, this is a really interesting thing, and this is not something I've seen yet. Every time I've seen this injury, the crocodile has been basically submerged or almost submerged. So this is the
Wait,
first time Kelly is seeing it.
I'm mesmerized. I know we had a quick chat about it earlier, Trish, but that is, and just then, see,
Yeah.
it's that when it came out and went back inside, we had a good chat about it. We haven't come up with a solution as yet. But that was breathing. I wanted to double check and make sure that innings and outings were. See, I don't know what a resting crocodile's breathing rate is.
So you see, Kelly, this exact reaction that you were having right now was me on Tuesday during the Africam show when I saw it for the first time, and I'm busy like, oh, crocodiles, this, and then I see, and I said, oh, wait, hang on, what? But while you have a look and have a think, Kelly, let's remind everybody that we are live and interactive. So please continue to send through your questions and your comments. A lot of you have already. We've got Jack DeBoer that says good morning from Chesapeake, Virginia. Zygote says namaste to us. Thank you very much. Namaste to you too, Zygote. Jan Powers is in the house. You say hi, Trisha Kelly.
Hi.
Kelly's preoccupied now, everybody.
Uh,
Bridget McKinney says hi, and so does Karu. Dear NC says good morning from Seattle. A cup of hot coffee in hand, and you're looking forward to learning about bubbles.
Me too.
Yeah, I think we all are. Zygote says rob a bank. LOL, LOL, Kitty.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm Trish. I'm in England and I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm having a brief visit to England, and despite the fact the sun's out, I find it cold. So I'm in a substantial hoodie. But
Well,
I'm
I
trying
think
to. I'm
I
not going
think
to lie. I am checking to see what a crocodile's resting breathing
go for it.
rate is.
I was gonna say all that says to me is that you are South African now, Kelly.
Oh, 100%. I
Yeah.
100%. People say I talk funny here and everything. So that works for me. But
Casper says Ghost says good morning, afternoon, Trish and Kelly and everyone. Cannot wait to learn more about this amazing crocodile bubbles. Amazing ability to adapt. Hot coffee ready for the show. Gordon J says good morning all. And MG Lepsot says thanks so much for your time with us. Love the show. And hi Mindy. Mindy's here. He says, well, he still looks alive to me. And Mindy, that is something that we count as the highest priority. He is still alive. And as you said, Kelly, or one of you was saying how he was adapting Casper's third ghost. The ways in which wild animals adapt is absolutely incredible. It blows me away every single time. We will, if we can, those in the background. Once we are done looking at the clips or the clip, can we come back to this live cam just because it's so crazy to see how this is working outside of the water. So I would like to come back here if we can. But for now, Kelly, how about we jump right in because I can see your brain is doing the same thing my
Watching,
brain
I'm
is
watching
doing.
that box in the top there. I'm trying to time it. I'm watching that box, but you carry on.
Can we go into the next clip or
We
you want
can,
to time
yes.
it, Kelly?
No, no,
All
no.
right.
We could go to the next clip.
All right. Let's head into the clip. There we go. Oh, that's a big crocodile. Yeah, that's breathing, Kelly. Yeah.
Yeah. Conversation for the nation. We're both just sitting here squinting into this screen watching this. Look at that ear. That is that little waterbuck here in the corner of that shot. Even the waterbuck's like, what is that thing? It has to is I've just asked because I've got a policy. I don't cheat on things unless I own up about it, and I just cheated. And a relatively well-known thing says resting breathing rate about 1.2 breaths a minute. Um, what
Okay, so this is how I saw it the other day.
is that? All that thing? A big thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Now, Trish, let's think logically. Let's think logically, because that comes out further. It did a thing when we started the show, and we saw it come out, but it was more just surface, and
Yeah.
then it went in. This is more out now, like a bubble. Why would that be changing if the crocodile is submerged or not submerged? Something to do with osmosis?
I can think of two reasons.
Tell us.
One being that when you are in water, the pressure of the water is acting on your body.
Yes.
So that would be one, right? The other thing is that if the crocodile is in the water, it may be preparing to dive, in which case it would fill its lungs up bigger.
Yes. Yeah. That is insane.
So if you don't know the backstory here, um, a bomber 411, you're asking, is he dying? Clearly not. As Mindy said, he's still alive, and that's what matters. And this injury has been, we've seen this injury for a while, and it doesn't seem to be dying. However, okay, let me get into the backstory, then we can
Tell
we
us the
can talk about
backstory, Trish.
yeah. So the backstory is that this particular crocodile basically went after a buffalo calf, and then mom came in and got him, flipped him, tried to go for him a second time, and then we're back live now at the Ulusaba camp. Tried to flip him a second time and he managed to get away into the water. So that means that he probably, it was after that that we saw this injury. So the guide who saw this happen, after consulting other guides and experts in the area, said that he thinks it's most likely a hernia. The area has been herniated, and so a hernia occurs when there's a weak spot in either the cavity, so internally you have a body cavity, and then externally you have your skin and all its different layers. So if there's a weak spot in that, particularly in the cavity, then internal sections of your body can push through. This is a very painful thing, and it can even push past the skin if there is a weakness in the skin too. But I don't think that's what's happened here. Here it looks like the osteoderms or the external skin that's fortified with that bone is still intact, but the body cavity has taken a hit.
It's yeah, that makes complete sense to me. There's a weakening. There's still those osteoderms on the top, There's a ruptured bit underneath, and I was when you were telling the story, I don't know if you saw me, no one else did, but Trish probably could. I was like breathing in to imagine what would be happening inside me, and like if there was a bit of a hole somewhere, would extra air capacity? I don't think it's. I don't think it's. I don't think it's lung. Wow, lungs. Yeah. Mm. Wow. We could talk. Have you already been through this in your head? You look like you're saying.
So I went and had a look. So obviously your lungs don't just float around in your internal cavity. They're protected by your ribs. They're attached at certain parts. So they can't simply move out. Or so I thought. And then I went and Googled just to have a look at pictures of what lung hernias look like. I discovered that they are pretty rare. However, if you have a broken rib, and a broken rib can pierce the other tendons and tissues that are connecting your lungs, holding them in place, then you can have a lung hernia. And then I saw, this is all human beings, I saw somebody,
No.
I saw someone that looked almost exactly like this crocodile, in that the lung was pushing out, the skin was still intact, and with the breath, it was moving. Now, given the internal anatomy of a crocodile, and that we know that the lungs, so that would be kind of the lower section of the lung here, because the lungs start just sort of the armpit of the upper limbs. So this would be the bottom section of the lung. But I think it is the lung that's herniated there, Kelly. Respectfully.
I do. I have not had a chance to revise the internal anatomy of a crocodile. My gut. It feels like crocodiles. I'm like rifling through my little Filodex of information about crocodiles. Very resistant to infection. I've got somewhere in the back of my brain somewhere. But like it can't be like lung infections and if that had like that skanky water had access to the internal body cavity that's all slushing around in the lungs, that wouldn't be right, would it? Surely not.
No.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Um, to me, it feels more like. I wish I could see what. No, lungs aren't. I'm very excited by this. Lungs aren't designed to live outside. Surely
No, but
the layers of like what the outer bit of a lung would be. There's a layer of like I think it's breathing. I think it's breathing and breath that's moving it. But I feel like it's covered by a layer of cartilage or stuff, membrane stuff.
it could very well be, because all this is telling us is that there is a sufficient weakness somewhere in those tissues for allow the lungs movement to be seen externally. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the lung is exposed to anything
No,
outside the
I'm with
body.
you. I know
Yeah.
I'm 100%. Yeah, no, I'm with you then. 100% with you. I thought you meant there was like a little bit of lung sticking out, which I found unlikely. No.
No. Um,
Uh,
I I mean, then a bomber 4411 would have been absolutely right. He is dying if there
yeah.
is a bit of lung sticking out, but he is not dying. Mindy, you say it looked like a puncture wound. It it could very well be a puncture wound where the skin has healed, but internally the weakness has not regained any of its like robustness, and so it's still popping through. And then Zygote says, so it doesn't need a nostril? No, it still needs a nostril, because the air still needs to come into the lung, and it can only do that through the nostrils or the mouth. The lung is not outside the body.
Just
It's just
leave it on his shoulder. Just leave it there.
just just he just has a better visual
Yeah.
cue on when to breathe.
Yeah. Who is it? I can't see who that was. Someone else also got confused. A.A. Bullard. I also thought she was saying that A.A. Bullard. We are not. We are not saying that it's an actual chunk of lung that's sticking out, but we now believe that there is something pushing something outside in relation to breathing stroke lung activity.
So think about if you've heard of or if you've ever had a hernia. For humans, most common would be around your gut. So that means that uh, part of your intestines, which is not in contact with other parts of your body, like your intestines can't just suddenly sit on your ovaries or testes or something like that. Everything is kept in place by sections and tendons, your diaphragm, for example, that will separate the lungs from your intestines. So all that connective tissue is holding things in place. So it's not the lung that is coming out of the body, or in the case of humans, intestines that are coming out of the body. It's just that there could be a hole in that connective tissue that allows that organ to push out into the greater cavity, which then could be seen on your skin. So if you go and Google what that looks like for a human, you'll see that they might have a little bulge by their gut. But
But I
everything is
think
still
that's
inside. Everything's
yeah,
still.
but I think that's fascinating and how interesting. I think that additional expansion of size pre-dive is probably also exactly what you said. If you're going to go, I mean, we are silly as well. We hold our noses. Well, so does he. So does he. Those his
Yeah,
little nose. There we go. There's the balloon because of that extra stretch, because of that gap. It does almost look like this is not going to be a word. Diaphragmless like material because we know those diaphragms have got a lot of give in them, and that will make big breath in. I wonder if this crocodile can stay underwater longer than other crocodiles because he can get an extra bit of breath in there.
oh, there we go. Silver lining, Kelly. Um, Karu, you say on the wound you saw a little fish fry, which was very
Oh,
interesting. There we go. This crocodile's creating microhabitats here.
yeah.
Crazy. Jen Lat, hi Jen Lat, you're asking if it'll scar over time. There seems to already be a scar there. But ultimately, either this crocodiles are very resilient.
Mm.
They can go without food for a long time. They can go without breathing for a significant amount of time. So it doesn't need to put itself in a bad position. Plus, they're ambush hunters, right? So they can sit and wait. So I think that this crocodile is gonna be just fine.
And be very, very interesting along the
Yeah,
way. I would imagine incredible research potential. I wonder. I suppose I struggle to gauge how big crocodiles are unless I see something standing next to them. It's going to keep
yeah,
growing. Whether or not that hole will close as it grows or get bigger, I don't know. I just think there's some really interesting things that should be observed and watched and recorded in this situation, especially because
but
he sits outside so nicely.
but this is the thing. I don't think there's a hole there. I think there might have been a small hole there, but I think what we're seeing is stretched skin.
Yeah, but
So
there's something
yeah,
letting it out. There's a little
yeah,
crack or something in those
yeah,
osteoderms or whatever. There's a little gap that something bigger is coming out of because of its expansion capabilities.
yeah. There you go. GPA 27. You said, wait, is he still alive? Yes, alive and kicking,
You can
and
literally see him breathing, like literally.
literally. Zygote, you're asking if a vet can fix this? A vet could fix this, in the same way as someone could fix a herniated lung in a human. But I find, or I feel, I should say, that veterinary intervention when an animal is already seems to have adapted, is an extra risk.
I fully agree.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be just fine. But what's cool is that we have these cameras and we can monitor and have
Yeah.
a look. Oh, there's a lot of questions. We will go to the next clip in a moment, everybody. But Carolyn, quick, you say he has a spare air tank. Yeah, just an extra berth, as Kelly said. Then Mindy, the last question for this clip, Mindy says, do you think the antelope can determine that something is wrong with the croc, or are they just curious in general? What do you think, Kelly?
Sometimes they do look. I've seen antelope looking at crocodiles before without strange abnormalities. Maybe it would be like if they might it maybe it's going as it's breathing. That would make the antelope look at a crocodile. If it was making a funny sort of sucking or wheezing sound, maybe we can't hear it. But I've seen antelope look at non um, impaired crocodiles. So who knows?
Yeah, that would lean more towards just curiosity, I think. If I've seen them stare at things and think to myself, just go away. Just take yourself outside of this dangerous situation. Bomber 411, you're wondering, do we know how long he's been living with this? So I first saw it on Tuesday, and the show before that, on Tuesday or Thursday, we didn't have a clip about this crocodile. So it must be a week or so now, I would say. But I think others in the chat who have been watching the Ulusabakam will definitely know better. The one thing I will mention before we go, because I want Kelly and I will think about this before we move on to the next clip, is that it seems to be inflating when he's breathing out. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the movement of the diaphragm as he's breathing out, as opposed to the movement of the lungs. I don't know.
Okay, shall we? We
No, true, true. So the story that we got from the ranger was that this incident that caused this injury happened 10 years ago, but this we haven't seen this over the last uh prior to the last couple of weeks. But remember the Ulusabakam is also new. So apparently this injury happened many years back, but we don't know if it herniated at that point or not.
I tell you what, Trish. I know something I can ask. I'll find out and I'll come back to you for a later show.
Yes, this is great. A
Shall we do
mess.
that? Anyway,
Kelly's just
wow,
like, I
this
know
show's nearly
people.
finished. We've been doing this crocodile for the last 25 minutes.
All right, we have three more clips to get through, everybody. So let's jump straight to it. Let's head over to Naledi and have a look at somebody else who lives in water and apparently they are not getting along.
They're terrapins. Oh.
Oh, we were so confused, everybody, because everything looked right. We are now at the live cam at Naledi, and you can see these two terrapins. But the clip name that we had was Frog versus another frog at Naledi, and we're like, maybe we just got the word wrong, and it's actually terrapin versus terrapin. But so it's this cam that we're gonna head back to and have a look at a crazy sighting of frog versus frog. And then Kelly, I'll tell you this video I came across. Here we go. Oh, that's not an equal match.
Can't, can't see that one nicely on the right there.
Mm.
I'm seeing lots and lots of frog activity up where I am at the moment. I think one evening I saw like 4 different types of frog all spread out. So I think after that big rain we had, we're getting some really, really nice frog diversity going on.
Nice. I mean, when I start to hear frogs at night in Joburg, that's when you know things are heating up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm struggling to see that. Looks like quite a long-legged frog.
Looks quite lean though. I know what you
Yeah,
mean. An
a
athletic
long leg.
bull.
Yes, an athletic frog. But I can't quite see what's going on the right there. Can you see?
I mean, all I can see is
Oh, is that a
the
little
small
bushbow
guy.
rain
Yeah.
frog?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ah, I love those little. Is that a little bit of a rainbow?
It looks quite skinny for a rain frog. Oh,
Oh, I didn't. We were right up against this. Shit. Oh, he didn't like it though. Spit it out. That
that
was
was unexpected, but
that
it's
wasn't.
actually not in the grand scheme of things because we do know that bigger frogs will eat smaller frogs if they can. Not all, but some do.
I think it's because we were so close to it. We weren't quite expecting it. But no, that was very cool to see. I love those bushveld rain frogs. What's your favorite frog, Trish? You've got 10 seconds to answer.
Oh, it is a bush frog, rain frog, because
It's probably
they're amazing. They
they're
make the
amazing.
best sound. They're cute. Then got this.
They're
They're,
angry.
they're,
They're
they're
angry face.
angry. They're little round fatty things. They're amazing.
I agree. I agree.
So I was having a look at sort of the Mortal Kombat rate and yes, that's a real thing, everybody, of frogs. And I found that it's not very high. Frogs don't often engage in interactions where they kill each other, although they can cause enough injury with throat punches to cause fatalities later on. Yep, exactly, exactly. And then I have to share it with you. I came across a video because when you search something, then you get like little video suggestions or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it's called 15 Unbelievable Fights That Frogs Owned Like a Boss.
I'm making note of that. That's my evening viewing. That's when you slide down the rabbit hole of nature.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get to watch it, but I definitely should. Grumpy old man, you didn't even say hello when you came into
Yeah,
the
where
chat.
were you? Where were you?
Yeah. Yeah, we were wondering where you were, grumpy old man. But there you are. We're happy to see you. And you say David versus Goliath. Bomber 411, you say, what a great clip to switch to. Turtles always make you smile. These are these terrapins. I know that turtles, or in some parts of the world, turtles and tortoises are called the same thing. Or even terrapins are also referred to as turtles. And from a taxonomic sense, I understand where you're coming from. But here in South Africa, we call these terrapins. So they're semi-aquatic. They're sometimes in the water, sometimes out of the water. They've got little claws on their legs, but they've also got flipper-like things. Oh, look at that stretch. Nice. And they are very entertaining. Zygote, you say lucky escape. And then Mindy, you said, would the larger frog eat the smaller one? Yeah, I've seen it happen, especially I've seen it with bullfrogs a lot. They just like come and snap up small frogs as if it's nobody's business.
They'll just shove anything in their mouth, those guys, without thought or rhyme nor reason. Oh, okay.
No. Yes. Yeah, we're being cued. We're talking too much, everybody. Let us head over to the Mahali Mzuri camera because this is another one, Kelly, that is really, I know you were also thinking about it during checks when we were doing audio checks and stuff, but I was also thinking about it a lot, but I haven't seen it yet. So let's head over and have a look at a hippo who is a little bit different. This is the camera live right now. We've got an elephant or two, and they are experiencing some nice rain like we are in Johannesburg at the moment. But I am so keen to see this pink hippo, so let us jump straight into the clip. Yeah, that's a pink hippo. So from what I understand, pink hippopotamuses are quite rare. They have been seen in Uganda. They've been seen in Kenya. There's been one sighting in Kenya. As far as I know, this might be the first, or it might be the one that was actually in the Mara.
Yeah,
But
that's a pink hippo.
that's a
I
pink hippo.
wasn't. Yeah, that's colouring.
Yeah.
That's pigmentation or black or whatever you want to call it. It's nothing normal.
No, it's not normal. So the Mahalium zuricam is in the Mara, so it is in Kenya, and that where a pink hippo has been spotted before. Now the pink hippo that I saw, I mean online, I was never so lucky to see it in person, but the one I saw online was quite young. So this looks like a different pink hippo.
Yeah, you can see that those markings. That's
That to
coloration.
me is leucism.
Yeah,
I'd say that hippo is leucistic, yeah.
or partially leucistic. You can see where
Yeah.
those patterns come in around its face. But no, that's proper coloration or back of.
Well, that's the nice thing, I suppose, about leucism is that it doesn't have to be total.
Uh-huh.
It's just the same hippo. Because now it looks,
I can do a short clawed lark. I've just learned. I've only learned short clawed lark calls fairly recently.
oh, I wish I
Woo!
could tell you. Jack du Bois is an amazing color. And I think that is just a leucistic hippo.
Yeah,
Not common, but very unusual. Kelly, have you ever seen a leucistic
I
hippo?
I have never seen a leucistic hippo. Never.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're unfamiliar what leucism is, so oftentimes in the wild we'll see something that doesn't have pigment and we think, oh, it's albino. But albino is, or to be albino, or to suffer from it, is the complete lack of melanin.
Mm.
With leucism, it's a bit different in that so when you have a cell, that cell is filled with pigment, and then it has to travel to where it needs to deposit the pigment. So with leucism, that the deposition of the pigment is where the problem is. Doesn't deposit correctly, doesn't deposit in the right place, and then you get this patchy sort of look. Or in some cases, you have no deposition at all, but it affects all pigment, not just melanin.
Science and nature is so cool. Deposition of pigment. Incorrect
Yeah.
deposition of pigment. It's like cells depositing things.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very
amazing.
powerful.
And the one really cool thing that I have to share, maybe not relevant, but I read about it today, is that so you know when we see leucistic animals, they still have dark eyes. They don't
Yes.
ever have the light eyes of albino animals. And that's because when the pigment originates as an infant, so when they're still a fetus, actually, not an infant, and there's the neural crest from which all these lovely new cells come and move out, and then we have things called melanoblasts that go and create the melanocytes that go travel to wherever they need to deposit the pigment.
Uh-huh.
So that all originates in the neural crest. But if there's some problem there, whether it's developmental or genetic, then that's where the issue comes in for leucism. But the neural section of the neural crest where iris pigment is deposited is separate. So even if there's a problem there, for the rest of the body, there's not a problem with the eyes.
That is fascinating, Trish. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, that was super interesting, and I did not know that. So thank you very much.
Kelly,
We,
I'm
we,
not sure. I'm not sure if you're being facetious or not.
no. I'm not being facetious, but I could just see them going. Can we do the last clip, please?
Okay, we're already over time,
We're
everybody.
over time.
So
You gave us
so
a externally breathing crocodile. What did you expect to happen?
all right, let's head over to Lentori and have a look at one cool clip before we have to say goodbye. Oh, I do love jackals though. Very confused, suspicious, curious.
See,
Intrigued.
this is interesting. When I do behaviour modification with companion dogs, we do something called a cognitive bias test to see how that animal responds to novelty, and it gives us an idea of their personality and character. This jackal would be in a Q3. It would be a Q3 character, which is not expecting anything good to come from something strange. They're not expecting something dreadful to happen because otherwise they go in aggressive and barking. But this thing doesn't expect something good to happen from this situation. You can see the body language, exactly the same body language.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Jackal. Free therapy from Ma
Free
Kelly there.
therapy. Yeah, free therapy.
Who
But
are you?
typical curious, not too sure, but I don't expect good things.
But it
And
also
he's
it
right.
also looks like a young jackal.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Carolyn, quick
Very cute.
knowledge base. I agree. I've never heard that information at all, so I agree with you completely, Carolyn. Quick, 100%. But
Thank
this is
you.
a very curious little jackal pup. Thinking, eh, be a bit careful of this, which is very, very sensible.
Yeah. But also there's enough curiosity that's telling the jackal, stay and investigate,
Mm,
but be
but
careful.
carefully.
Anything can happen.
Yeah,
Anything
carefully.
can happen. Anyway, I suppose that's a life lesson.
It
Be
is,
curious, but also be careful.
yeah, curious but careful.
Exactly, exactly. Well, that's it, everybody. It was a wonderful show today. We had so many really interesting things. I wish we could get more into each clip. And every time, Kelly, it feels like the 30 minutes is just never enough.
I think we should extend it, Trish. I think we should stay here and we should talk for at least an hour because we would keep it covered.
Right, exactly. But thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us on your very busy day and finding time for us. It's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Always a pleasure to be here, Trish.
And all of you, thank you for your questions and your comments. Everyone in the background that makes these shows possible, thank you as well. And we will see you all next time.
Thank
But
you. Bye bye.
goodbye for now. Bye.